Hi, I'm Rachel and I'm your instructor today, and we're going to talk today about the fear response, or as I like to call it, the fear deer responses, which is kind of funny, but you'll see why it makes it a little easier to remember and stuff like that, okay? So another thing that we're talking about is the history of the fear response. Where did it come from? Why do we have it? That kind of stuff. So I'm going to explain the history real quick in my layman's way of saying it. Basically, a long time ago, when we were a much more primitive version of ourselves than we are now, like we didn't have iPhones, we were more sitting around a fire, maybe we had a teepee, and we were hunting for our food in the woods. Okay, picture that. In that time, we needed a fear response that would get our butt into gear if we needed to survive. It would say things to our body like, hey, you're gonna die if you don't run really fast, or if you don't fight this big creature right now. Because, during those times, there was a lot more life-threatening threats. The threats were like bears and lions and tigers. Oh my. But unfortunately for us nowadays, we actually have almost the exact same type of fear response, but the threats are just a little less life-threatening, like, oh no, what will they think of me? Or maybe there won't be any of, like, my favorite chips left at the grocery store. Things that might be a bit of an annoyance and a cause for a little bit of anxiety, but not enough to send us into a stress response that will mimic the type that we had, that I'm talking about, that we needed it for, right? The kind where you need to exhibit the type of stress responses that I'm getting ready to talk about. So the stress responses are intended to keep you alive. Remember that. So the first stress response is called fight. Okay, we know this one. We know that when an attacker is coming, if something was threatening, that you would defend yourself in that way of fighting. And if you know anything about deers, like I do out here in the country, I'm in Shepherdsville, Kentucky right now, you know that deers really do fight. We might not picture a deer doing that, but it's not their go-to response. They're probably going to try out the other stress responses first, and if they don't work, then they'll fight, but they will. We grew up out here in the country, and our parents will tell us, don't ever go up on a deer if it's standing still, because that means it will fight you. It will fight you, and their hoofs are sharp, so I hear. The next stress response is called flight. So this is one that's really common with the deer, right? They run away, right? If you run up on a deer and you make a lot of noise, it will run. And the last stress response is called freeze. And freeze it's actually my go-to stress response when I'm having anxiety, but it's to just stop and not do anything, and that is that deer in headlights kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about? So that is why I call it the fear deer, because I can think about it with the deer kind of running or stopping or fighting, and it's all of the responses, and you can just kind of like envision that little deer doing all of those things. So what's going on in your body when you're having one of those fear responses is that your brain is pumping out chemicals into your body that are saying, hey, you're about to die. It's giving you adrenaline. It's shutting down systems in your body like your reproductive organs and your digestive system and all these things inside of you that you might not need if you're going to be withstanding a threat for a very long time. What it's going to do is put you into the position where you can do one of those fear responses for an extended amount of time. That's what it's going to do. It's going to give you those chemicals that you need, and it's going to shut down the things inside your body that are taking your energy and your focus away from you doing the fear response. That's why we're shutting down systems. So that's basically what's going on in your body. Now let's talk about what it is that we're going to do to try to make it better. That's the part we all really want to know, right? So even though in the workplace or whatever, like, you might not be experiencing a bear coming at you, you might just be experiencing like a large stack of paperwork that you have to get done by the end of the day. It's not going to kill you. The paperwork's not going to kill you. So let's talk about what we can do to make you feel a little bit less like you're going to die. So self-talk is my very favorite coping skill for stress. Just like I said, you're not gonna die over the paperwork. Tell yourself that. If that's what your body thinks, if that's what your brain thinks is going on, that you're like scared you're gonna die, then tell yourself, hey, brain, hey, body, guess what? You're actually not gonna die. That's called self-talk. When you tell yourself a message that's different than the message that's going on in your subconscious mind. So you could say, hey, girl, what up, girl? Hey, what up? Yeah, guess what? You're not gonna die. Really? I'm not gonna die? No. You might be a little worried. Your boss might get pissed at you. You might have to do a little bit of extra work tomorrow. You might have to stay late doing your work, but you're not gonna die. See how I just did that? I kind of broke it down and I told my body what was really going on. But now we got all these extra chemicals and stuff floating around in our body, and we got to get it out. We got cortisol, stress hormone, floating around all inside of our body. What are we gonna do? Why don't you take a 10 or 15-minute break to do some exercise? Exercise is so great as a stress coping skill because you're going to work all those chemicals out of your muscles. They're going to get filtered out through your urinary system that was previously shut off. So it's going to reactivate, and then now it's going to filter out those chemicals, all that cortisol, that adrenaline stuff is going to get flushed out of your body. So make sure you're drinking a little extra water if you are having stress and you're doing exercise to help cope. The other thing that exercise does is it kind of tricks your body into thinking that it got what it needed. So if I'm moving around, then maybe my body thinks, hey, cool, I fought the bear. I'm good to go now. Another cool tool that I like to use is called activating the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve is a nerve that runs down your neck and spine, and it activates a system in your brain called the parasympathetic nervous system. Hang on, wait, let's try it again. The parasympathetic nervous system. There we go. I think I got it. Okay. Anyway, what matters is not how it's said, not how it's spelled, thank goodness, but where it's at, how do we activate it, and what does it do? So it's located right back here, and if you just take your hands and you cover your ears like you're trying to drown out a loud sound, okay, and you're going to wrap your hands around the back of your head. You'll take these two fingers here, and you can just gently tap, just like this, back and forth in kind of a repetitive motion. And if you stick your hands over your ears tightly, like you're trying to drown out a sound, when you make this tapping motion, you'll actually hear it sound kind of like a tribal drum. It'll be real, like, you know, acoustic sounding. And just activating that vagus nerve there will trigger the parasympathetic nervous system. Guess what the parasympathetic nervous system is? Well, the parasympathetic nervous system is the one that tells the body to calm the F down already. And that is the one that we want to get going when we are feeling stressed. So you can just stop and do that. It's easy. You can do it anywhere. Another great one that we can do is just simply breathing. So we're going to trick the body again because we breathe different when we're in a stress response than we do when we are calm. The body knows that it's calm if it's breathing into the lower parts of the lungs, and this creates what's called belly breathing. You breathe deeply, deeply into the lungs. You breathe really shallow when you are in a stress response because that's the type of breathing you need to have more stamina when you're trying to run for a very long time or fight for a long time. It's like stamina breathing. So if you can just go ahead and breathe, pulling that air into the bottom of the lungs and just breathing as deeply and as heavy as you can. If you can see your belly moving up and down, you're doing it right. Continue to do this for long enough. Pull the air in slow. Just keep focusing on that breath, and eventually your brain will go, hey, oh, you know what? I must be okay because I'm breathing into the bottom parts of my lungs. So let's go ahead and give this girl some serotonin and some dopamine and calm her down. Thank God. Another great coping skill is to just talk about it. Sometimes all we really got to do is be like, bring, oh gosh, hey best friend, what's up? Oh my god, I am just having like the world's worst day ever, and blah, 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 and just literally vent and word vomit everywhere, and then something happens and we feel better. We get less stressed, and the support and the connection with another human being literally always makes us feel like we're okay. So whether you're connecting emotionally like this, or maybe like you just need to go and be like, hey girl, can I have a hug? I literally just need a hug. That'll help you calm down. Yes, it will. And so you can also take a little meditation or yoga break. Those things are fantastic too. There's plenty of amazing guided meditations on YouTube, on some people's channels that do things on YouTube. And last but definitely not least, I'm just going to ramble off a few more things. You can do tapping, you can do stretching, you can reset your brain by making a list and kind of get your thoughts more organized. You can do all kinds of stuff. Address the issue. Sometimes anxiety's from avoidance. So sometimes just figuring out what it is that the anxiety is coming from and finding a solution to that thing will really, really help you. Other than that, look up stress reduction techniques on Google, and you will just find so many amazing blogs, amazing videos that will give you a plethora of amazing content that you can use to further your stress reduction coping skills. Love y'all. Bye. Bye.